Are you going to do that, Dan? We're going to keep Greenville County green.
Hey everybody, appreciate you all coming out.
That's right.
Really nice night to have an event like this. Glad to see such a good crowd. My name is Alan Kellett. I'm running for County Council District 28. Dan Tripp is getting out of the way.
Thank God! Dirty Dan Tripp is leaving town.
We are looking for a. I'm approaching this as a common sense view to County Council. A little bit about me. I'm a business owner. I run Kellett Farms in Simpsonville. We raise poultry, cattle, and do a custom hay baling operation. I am also the vice president and operations manager of a South Carolina's largest bottled water distributor. So I run a fairly major sized business on a day-to-day basis. Kellett's, we've been here 200 years, very vested in this community. We've been vested in this community. Kellett's Plumbing, the Kellett's Wellboring, and if you ain't had a hot dog from Tommy's at Kellett's Corner, you are missing out, let me tell you. We've all strived to build our businesses and better this community for years and years. And that's what I'm trying to do here running for District 28. I've been serving the public in an unelected aspect for many years. Was on the Greenville County Farm Bureau, served as vice president, served as president for many years. I resigned that to run for office. Actually in 2021, the State Farm Bureau office called me up and said, hey, you won an award with us this year. You won the Legislative Grassroots Award. And I said, what is that? And they said, well, that's, for all your work going to county council and arguing for folks and making those councilmen do what they're supposed to. And I said, wow. I said, you giving me an award for chewing out legislators? I said, that's great. So did that. I served as a assistant commissioner for the Farm Service Agency. I've also served on advisory boards for Woodmont FFA and a lot of FFA services. A lot of it stem around agriculture since I'm a farmer. And I feel your pain on this development. Our land has been there for over almost 100 years, and we're surrounded by development. I mean, completely surrounded. And if you folks go to my Facebook page, Alan Kellett for Greenville County Council, you'll see an overhead video of that. But we are still there, and we are not leaving. We're in the process of putting all that property in a conservation easement. So the developers can go kick rocks on my place. All right, and this is the thing with development here. If we take a common sense approach to it, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in right now. Infrastructure first. That's right. All right, infrastructure first. It's not rocket surgery. Infrastructure first. Okay. And the thing that bothers me now, in the past 15 years, we developed and we built some quality neighborhoods that some of you folks live in proudly. But here lately, we're doing townhomes and apartments. And there's one nail in the top of the board and two nails in the bottom, and up it goes. All right. I go to the office on Monday, and they're pouring the concrete pad, and on Thursday, the moving truck's moving in. And we need somebody in this seat with some vision that can see what's going to happen 10, 15 years from now. We don't want to be where Atlanta and Charlotte have a baby. All right? We don't want to have cheaply made townhomes, cheaply made apartments 10 and 15 years from now that are falling apart, that folks are saying, the heck with this, I'm going to let it go to foreclosure. Because if we do, we're going to look like the outskirts of Chicago and the outskirts of Detroit with boarded up homes that are in disrepair that we can't do anything with. So, and that's why I got into council. I've been helping people my whole life, helping neighbors. I actually talked to a lady a month ago. It's an older lady, and she's down there in Rick and Daniel's district that they're running for, and she wanted me to help her out. She bought a double wide trailer in 1992. Paid $38,000 for it, total, on an acre of land. New York moves in next door to her on 3 acres, builds a McMansion. California on the other side builds a McMansion. County comes out, reassesses. Now her taxes are $296,000. That's what she's assessed at. These This development is taxing us out of our homes.
Yes.
And to touch on what Rick said about property taxes not paying for the services, I have argued this for years with my platform at the Farm Bureau. You can take a 50-acre cow pasture, a 50-acre patch of pines or whatever, and the county gets property taxes on it, all right? You can put 100 houses on it and they get more property taxes. But that vacant land, that wood line, that cow pasture, that farm that's sitting there, we don't build a school, we don't hire deputies, we don't buy a fire truck, we don't do anything to support that. No services for that property, except maybe the guy cutting the ditch twice in the summer, you know. But we don't spend any service money on that. So why not preserve more of our open green space in the county? We don't have to put cheaply made homes on every patch of dirt we have.
Amen.
We do not. It's not a necessity. And I don't know who came up with the plan 20 years ago that started this influx of move to Greenville.
Dan Tripp.
Well, maybe so.
Yeah.
Well, maybe so. But, well, whoever, Dan Tripp or not, whoever it was, they did not have a plan to stop it. And that's the problem we're facing today. And that's what I want to fix at County Council. And that's why I appreciate your vote. I've left some cards on the table that tell everything about me. There's some bottled water back there that's free, that's got our campaign slogan and signs. And I'm just bringing a common sense approach to this. I think that's what we need. I think if you sit in a seat at County Council and you have really, if you've never owned a business and you haven't had to make payroll and lose money and make money, then you don't understand the thinking it needs to be an efficient council. You really don't. And question?
Yes, two questions.
All right.
And they both are more or less the same. First of all, what can you do and get others on county council to do to protect our small farms, our woodlands that are left here in Greenville County? Then the second one that goes along with that, what would you do on county council to refrain the unrestricted growth that's going on with these out-of-town developers coming in and leveling whole forests and putting up the cookie cutter homes like you're talking about? Would you possibly think about using impact fees, say $1,000 a home, to pay for the infrastructure that they are incurring on our county?
Well, I'm going to answer your second question first, and that's a tricky one. Impact fees are great, but we know how these developers are. You know what they're going to do. That extra cost, they're going to pass it on to the home.
Right.
So it's kind of a wash that way. But I think where we were, well, I mean, well, it's not necessarily a wash, but the developer's going to recoup their money. Is what I'm saying.
I'm with, right. So it's $1,000. So these houses are $400,000 or $500,000. That's not stopping anybody, but it makes a difference.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
it makes a difference.
it does make a
They're
difference.
passing out to the guy from California.
Yes,
Right.
right.
Yes.
Gotcha.
New York, New Jersey, all
I don't pay it, right?
And I think too, we need to stiffen these codes, and it's too easy for them to get everything done. I mean, really, common sense here, folks. When you see a house being built and it's up and the folks are moving in it in 2 weeks, how did they even have time to have it inspected correctly? I mean, right? Now, on your second question about preserving green space, how many of you folks in here know what a conservation easement is? A lot of people do, a lot of people don't. You don't hear that word a lot, though. It's not very marketed. All right, so we got several groups in the state that do that. Your only option is not to sell to a developer. There's other options to preserve the land and still get a little money out of it. Not as much as the developer's going to give you, but you can put it in a conservation easement. If you set it up correctly, you can still build homes on it for you, your children, make it your legacy land. All right, and you can still sell it, but you sell it with the easement on it. But the thing about easements in Greenville County, if you've got a lot of land and you set it up as a conservation easement, you put what they call an envelope on it where you can build a home. And I think you can put, depending on the company or who you're dealing with, you can put up to 7. Okay, so you and your kids and your mother-in-law, whoever, all build homes there. All right, so once you do that, the thing about this area is if you want to sell it later on and your kids want to sell it later on, we got rich CEOs in downtown that would love to buy that and live out in the open and not live in these cookie cutter neighborhoods that are close to Greenville. So there's other options for that, a whole lot of other options. I mean, that's what we're going to do. I mean, my grandfather would roll over in his grave if I ever sold our place.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
I have a couple of questions now. They're sort of personal, but you need to know who you are. You
Right.
need to know the integrity and who you stand for and what you stand for. My first question is, who or what brought you up to run for county council? I mean, what made that decision?
Well, I didn't want to see somebody get in this place that was going to do a bad job.
So,
But nobody put me up to it, is what you're asking.
okay, yeah, that's what I was asking, because I had heard a rumor that Dan Tripp talked to you.
No, he didn't talk me into it. He did offer me his, Dan and I have known each other through our interaction at council. He did offer me his endorsement, I declined it.
All right, the second question is, when you ran for the House, you used one address, and now that you're running for county council, you're using another address. Can you explain that to us?
Yeah, we had a residence down there 2 years ago. It's been removed and a barn put in its place. Now we have a residence on Holcomb Road. They're very close.
So you don't have a residence on it?
No, not anymore, no.
Okay, so when you were running.
We did,
you-
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I have a comment. There is no negative to impact fees. And I think they should be substantial. When people are coming in and building, they need to have impact fees to accommodate infrastructure, which needs to be built. They need to have it for school systems, for burden on the medical centers, hospitals nearby. They're absolutely, it's too open. You know, you can't be that open. You know, we talk about, you know, closed borders or whatever. You have to, if people are moving in, they can't just move in for market value of the house that they're building so cheap. It's gonna be too easy. If they pass it on to the buyers, great. I don't care who they pass it on to. It should be 5,000, 10,000, 20,000.
You're right. I mean, it needs to be more severe. And the other thing that bothers me about, especially about these out-of-state developers, they'll come in and they present a plan to county and you know, county engineer says, oh yeah, that looks good. The grading plan looks good or whatever. And we build these houses and we've got runoff like crazy onto the folks that live around it. All right. And it's a bad quality of life thing for you to have to deal with somebody else's runoff. And it's common sense. The more rooftops and the more concrete we put, the more runoff we have. And we don't have a good plan for that right now. Then when it comes time to go back after the developer because he's got a bad plan for the house development, guess what? He's gone. He's gone to Texas and doing it. Nobody can find him to make him own up to it. So that's the other problem that we have.
That's how you can help control growth.
Right.
Making it more complicated.
That's right.
And I did go.
Well, it deters them from coming here and popping them everywhere.
And I went to one planning commission meeting and so forth, or just rezoning, that sort of thing. And it was all so easy. Not one of, like, I showed up for an issue, I had a question, and one other woman showed up. The other people that wanted rezoning, they did not even show up because they were so confident that they didn't even have to show up, that they were gonna get approved. And I thought, this rezone, yeah, everybody vote, yeah. Nothing got turned down, nothing even got questioned.
Yeah.
It was all yes, yes, yes.
It's a rubber stamp.
So
Spoon, send it down the line.
Good, that's what I want to hear.
This is a beautiful place to be. I did come from California, and it's a beautiful place to be, and I don't want to end up with another California.
And we're not, we will let it happen.
This is great.
Thank you so much for the comments today.
Yeah, thank y'all for being so interested in me. We're getting to all this time. Thank you.